going to start it as soon as, yes, we were just getting you on the phone first and it should be starting any second. Okay, thank you. Just yell out. I have you on speaker, so yell out if you need to stop us or add something.
All right, we'll go ahead and do call to order the Finance Committee meeting, 2 p.m. on April 27th. And go ahead and start off with the review of the FY 2027 budget presentation. And off to Tina.
Thank you everyone for attending today. So today is our time to get together to figure out what our school board would like to present to Dorchester County Council. So we have an update to the 26-27 numbers that we presented last time from 2 weeks ago. We got some additional tax assessment numbers increases from the county auditor. So we call this the proposed budget presentation for Dorchester County Council, and y'all just kind of walk us through if there's something that you'd like us to tweak a little bit, and also be thinking about who wants to give the presentation to the county council, because they would like, maybe Evan would like to.
Why not?
Am I echoing? Yes. Okay, so we will jump in, and if anybody has any questions or any comments or anything to add, just let us know. First thing that we thought would be very important to share with county council are the 27 budget priorities. I'd love it if our superintendent would talk about some things.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at those 4 areas, additional students behavior supports, you will find that, and just give you a high level of this, you'll find that with our alternative school for elementary, teacher quality, recruitment and retention. When you look at this proposed budget, you're looking at about $8.5 million going toward teachers in this budget. When we look at administrative quality retention, recruitment retention, we're looking at, basically roughly $1.3 million putting into administrators. And then when we look at classified staff, quality recruitment retention, looking at putting out $1.7 million into that group. And so you can see that, again, majority of those dollars are going to go toward teachers, but we also know that we need some help in our classified and our administrative areas as well to address those salaries. And so just want to continue to go down, and we'll go ahead and go through the rest of the slides. But that was just kind of an overview, kind of where that money will be. And so you can see the sources of funds. Those have not changed on slide 3. Slide 4 has not changed, sources of funds again. And then when you go into the DD2 general fund budget for FY26, you can see the revenues there, and the revenues from the state around 72%, locals 26%. And then slide 6, I'll turn this one over kind of to Tina, talking about projected general fund revenue. So if you look at that slide, thank you. And you can see where our budget is and our fund revenue. So I'll turn that over to Mrs. Meunier. So
Okay.
I think we've got some new numbers there.
Right. We were able to, like I said, get some updated assessment values from the county auditor. So that very top line, the local property taxes, this current year is 85.5 million, and next year he has projected 91.8. So that's an additional 3 million from the last presentation that we were able to give. So that's helpful. So our total increase for revenues that we're projecting is $10 million in revenues.
Yeah, so we're very excited about that. And I guess that's why when you look at this budget presentation, it's going to address those 4 areas. And when you look at the millage, I'll let you talk about that.
So the operating millage increase history is what we were allowed to get. The third column from the left is our millage rate increase limitation. That's from the state with our consumer price index increases and the population increases in our DD2 area. So those percentages equate to mills that we could ask for operations. So going back to tax year 2020, we could have asked for 6, and then 5, and 10.8. So the total of those that we could have asked for that we did not get was 44.59 mills. And then for this new year coming up, the State Revenue Fiscal Affairs Office sent us our letter, and it would be 10.1 mills that we could ask for in this coming year. The mill value did go up since we received those updated assessment values from the county auditor. And it's $465,000 per mill now instead of $435. So it went up some. That's helpful. If you were to take the total mills, look back in the current year, we could ask for, not that we are, 54.66 mills times the new mill value is $25.4 million. That would be moving forward. We would
So
do
when
25
you,
million a
because
year.
I'm not really familiar with how all this works. So when you said we could have asked for it, we did not ask for it. So is it that they don't have it, or do they have it available so that we could ask for it? Not that we would ask for that much, but I mean.
Exactly. So you are allowed to ask for operating mills to be increased on the property tax bills.
Mhm.
So we didn't ask for, or we weren't granted an increase of millage when we went to present to county council. The last time that we were granted millage was in the 25-26 year. It was the 7.6 mills that we got.
Mhm.
That was a rollback to the 2022 mills that we could have asked for. So those mills are still available to us to request. It's just a matter of, since we don't have fiscal autonomy, that we have to go to county council and for them to approve if we could get more mills.
So if we could ask for it, what's preventing them from giving it to us since it's available?
It's an election year.
Pardon me?
Well, because it increases taxes for them to give us.
I know.
Millage, right? So, I mean, nothing is preventing them per se.
But they just don't think that would be a good,
Well, there's just consequences
in
to
order to get more
increasing
folks to come
taxes, I guess,
into
is
the county, into our area,
to get what, like
More businesses.
more businesses to come
businesses.
in.
Yeah.
Is that
I
why
mean,
they,
I think it's a, that might be part of it, but also a lot of the businesses we have are small businesses.
Mhm.
And so to increase.
yeah,
their
we don't want to
taxes-
overtax them.
Correct. So it's about finding a balance. And the unfortunate part of it is that this is, our only way of increasing our operating funds. But in doing that, we increase taxes for our businesses, a lot of whom are small businesses. And so,
But we don't have a lot
that's
of
unfortunate because
high-paying
we don't
industries.
want to increase taxes for them, but at the same time, we need funds to be able to operate. And so I think that's why every year we go through this process where we work very hard to be really diligent and fiscally responsible and have savings where we can. But at the same time, we reach a point where we have needs for our staff and our students. And so, we have to ask. That's kind of where we are.
Dr. Ripley can give this presentation. She knows it.
Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, so I mean, I think you're right. It's just, it's a difficult.
It's a tough spot for sure.
Right,
Yeah,
yes.
And I think county council's in a tough spot to do that. And if the board if y'all did have fiscal autonomy, I think it'd be hard for y'all to
It
do
would-
it as well.
Right, because obviously we're all members of this community
Mhm.
and we care about the effects that, increasing taxes would have on people in our community. And so that is something that we do think about when we go to county council and ask that. But at the same time, obviously,
We're losing people.
we have to, we've been elected to serve this school district and our students and our staff. And so we have to do that too. So, and we know we need money. We know we need more of it. We know we need teacher raises. We know we need, I mean, these are our priorities. And again, that's why this process that's why we are very careful and thorough and go over and over it and look at everything and try to find cost savings where we can,
Mhm.
because we want to do our part too. But at the end of the day, here's where we are.
Well said, perfect.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes sense, but it doesn't.
I mean, I understand,
Fix our
trust me.
situation.
No, and I agree with you, Ms. Powell.
Well, and that's why it's tough in our district because we have so much assessed property that's 4% property in residential homes don't pay operating taxes. And we're not in the same predicament as our neighboring counties.
Yep. I get that.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out from the state, at the state level, why would they still give Charleston County well, okay, I know that they're paying it, but they have all this money, but yet on top of that, they get what they get from the state. Why could that not be they basically decide we're going to redistribute that to those counties that don't have that same type of ability to raise funds.
Charleston would be a loser of funds.
Yeah, but,
They don't want to lose funding.
but look how much money they have. And it's all about the entire state. You know, we've been at the bottom ever since I was in school.
Yes, ma'am. Act 388 didn't do us a lot of good. So, yeah, so Charleston does raise more local revenue dollars.
I
We
think
get
we-
more state dollars than they do because we don't have the tax.
But we
bill.
need more.
Yes, ma'am.
Whatever they're giving to those that have all of this industry. We have to find a way to bring more revenues into those other areas that aren't as well endowed with opportunities to generate more funds. And I think that's a state issue of,
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the way South Carolina funds education does not make a lot of sense. It creates winners, losers. It creates that. I mean, so students across the state do not get the same amount of money, you know, to be educated and provided that education, that public education that they're all guaranteed. And in some cases, ours and Charleston are kind of the two extremes. The difference is great.
Right.
It's great.
okay. Well, I just thought I'd throw it out there. We can't solve anything by saying it, but
And they have tried to work on the state funding formula with the dollars that are allocated in the state budget for education. They have worked, and they've proposed some amendments for this new year for the funding formula as well. So we'll see what they actually adopt and if it maybe gives us some more money. Right now, but we're still working on House Ways and Means. The Senate is debating, we said this week. So.
this is a little off, but I never could understand if we have to have this, we have to give out teachers their contracts, et cetera. They have to know this information. But they act like they don't start thinking about the budget or working on it until
They've
so
been
late.
They've been working on it and it has to go through all their committees and everything.
But that
It has
means
go
you
on the
have to
Senate
back up.
side.
When all these meetings are taking place so that we would have it in a timely manner, how much money we're getting, et cetera, so we can
Because
give,
we depend so much on the state. Yes, ma'am, it's a little challenging. State revenues. All right. Expenditures by function for Dorchester 2, instruction, instructional support, school management. Those are the different employees who work directly with the students every single day. That's 75%. Transportation and safety, they also deal with students. We're at 83.2%, and the other ones fall into make 100% of our budget. Expenditure by object group, this shows that 86.3% of our budget is salaries and benefits. And everything else is 13%. That's for contracts that we have and for fuel for the buses and providing for our safety and security contracts. Those are expenditures. I also wanted to show a comparison. Is this yours? You just start here? Okay.
So this next one is our starting teacher salary comparison between us and our neighboring districts. And it shows the starting salary for a first year bachelor's degree teacher in DD2 and then Charleston, Beaufort, Berkeley in D4. We did add the actual amounts onto this graph for this time. It was kind of, didn't realize that we didn't have the amounts on there, so that's been added. And it just, interesting, the slope of the graph kind of closely follows the conversation we were just having with the value of the mill in each of our neighboring districts and their ability to generate local taxes has a direct impact on what they're able to pay their teachers.
We did hear that Charleston was looking to go to 67.5 next year. This is just first number we heard. Berkeley 58.2 and we're proposing 54 for our teachers.
So is that 25? Or I guess
Current year.
26 this year.
25,
Okay.
26, yeah.
Yeah, because everyone
Yes.
hasn't voted on it.
And so looking at that graph there, you can see we're about, if you go back to that one,
Oops, sorry.
column, one more. Yeah, if you look at that, you can see the difference is about $5,200 from Berkeley and us. And so if we're able to get our budget passed, we're gonna go to 54 and they go to, let's say 58.2. Now we've narrowed it down by $4,000. So again, I think we're, putting, like I said, putting $8.5 million of new monies toward teacher raises. So,
They did a good effort.
yes.
This is our starting teacher salary history graph, which shows what we have done in Dorchester too since FY 2018. And if you look at 2018 to 2026, the current year we're in, that number overall is we've gone from 36,124 to 51,500, which is over $15,000 for that starting salary. And the corresponding percentage for that same time frame is an increase in that starting salary of 43%. The numbers at the bottom just show how we have it broken down on our budget presentation. You can see that with the proposed $2,500 increase, bringing us to a $54,000 starting salary, that would be another 4.85% for next year.
Next section is our reductions and allocation additions. Go.
So this is our reductions and allocation additions. There are not any changes on this from the last time you've seen it, but what it is it shows how we've continued to right size the budget. And we continue to carefully look at our enrollment and adjust accordingly. And as you'll see, there's some additions and some reductions because our allocation changes can be affected by overall enrollment in one direction, but by changes in specific populations in another direction at the same time. The next two sections are mandates and required increases. These have not changed as well from the last time that we've seen them. But we did want to point out that with the increase in revenue that we got from the county last week, that all of these items on these two sections can now be accomplished without, within the millage that we have now. Then this last two sections also support our priorities for our people and our behavior supports. But these would require additional millage. So the first is an additional 1,500 to all steps of the teacher salary scale, bringing that salary to the 54,000 that we just talked about. That would cost $3.75 million and would require an additional 4.72 mils. We also have an additional 1% for people not paid on the teacher scale, and then special education stipends for our hard to fill teacher categories there, for a total of 4.95 million and 7.3 mils. And then the section below are other student behavior supports that we would like to see to support that priority. And there are a total of $1.2 million in additional requests there, which would bring our total mill request overall to just over 10 mils. The next slide is just a summary of each of those sections that we just went through, and you'll see our total requests for new expenditures for FY27 is $14.7 million, and with a request of 10.
So this next slide is everything that we've seen as in one slide. So the top portion is our projected revenues. So the yellow bar is the additional funding that we would need to match our expenditure request. So since our total projected revenue is 310 million, we would need 4.6 million to equal our expenditures of 314.8 million that we're requesting from all the different areas that we just went through on all the details. And we did include that the value of the mill has changed to 465,000 on the top set. And then this next slide is an example. If we had a millage increase, Since the value of the mill now is 465,584. If we were to go up that 10 mills, you can see in the gray block at the very close to the bottom, to get that additional funding, it would cost a business that has a $500,000 assessed value for their commercial property, cost them less than $1 a day, maybe $300 more on their tax bill. So $1 a day, less than $1 a day.
Sounds like those commercials for just $1 a day. You can support your local teacher.
Right.
We ever met with, well, I know all of would be with us, our local business person. I mean, for the whole, no, well, the chambers, everybody doesn't belong to the chamber necessarily, but I mean, have we ever just had some conversation with them? I know they know what they're paying, but when I hear $300 extra, I guess.
The
I'm trying-
chamber's aware of it. I mean, that's where most businesses come in and get advertisement. And so they know the predicament we're in. We've talked about teacher salaries, administrators, and
I mean, little small groups. Mhm.
we've not met with any small groups. The biggest, our avenue, our
Sometimes just
connection.
sitting having coffee and talking, you know, give them a little piece of cake and something, or sweeten them up or whatever. But we need to talk to as many people as we can to get. Okay.
Next couple slides are items that we did not include in the budget request. These are still needs. They just didn't make the, as you said, as we carefully went through and picked on the priorities. Again, departments felt very strongly about requesting these items, so we'll need to add these as we go when we get more funding. So slide and the next slide for $3.9 million.
What the interpreters, are those language or any type interpreter? The floating one?
Floating educational interpreter. Chad, you're gonna have to remind me of that one. Third one.
Which one are you
I
on?
think that was especially for our hearing impaired students.
Yes.
Okay. Mhm. And we have ample number of language for them to be in meetings and things like that whenever they're meeting with members of the faculty. We
We do have.
I know we
do
had
have-
some, I don't
yes,
know if
do
we have,
some.
we have a sufficient number?
We've added quite a few interpreters over the last few years.
But also, don't we use a service?
Language line.
Language line.
Okay, all right.
It's cool computer devices you can use too.
What's that?
Little devices that will.
Yeah, I know we
Oh,
have
yeah.
more up to date now. Just some parents are very intimidated when they come in those environments, especially if they don't speak that language and they don't know how to operate all your little gimmicks and, okay.
So then looking at our calendar, we're on the last meeting of April 27th. This board workshop is to discuss the presentation in county council. So when we go to the board meeting this evening, we would need for you to vote on the presentation that you would like to go to county council. So any questions or comments or can we help you with anything?
Jim? Any questions, comments?
No further questions or comments. I did read the updated presentation with interest and appreciate all the work that's been done. And personally, I'm looking forward to taking this forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Does anyone have any other questions about the presentation? All right, moving forward, we have the approval of the contract for Ashley Ridge High School track replacement.
So we'll take all of these to the board meeting this evening. Just wanted you to know that we had some bids that came through. Actually, this one was a request for proposals. So you'll see, this is confidential until the board approves it. who the vendor is and the price for that project. We had reviewed our capital project schedule, and there were courtyards that were going to be done on some of the middle schools that y'all had approved in your capital project fund money. And so since it's getting really late in the year, we all meet on Monday mornings at 9 o'clock to talk about all of our capital projects and referendum projects. We propose to move those into the new year. So that will come back to y'all this fall. And in lieu of doing those now, we wanted to push forward with the Ashley Ridge track replacement since it's in bad shape and it really needs to get on the books to start moving on it for them to be able to run on it in their next season. So
Do
that's
we
the Ashley
generate
Ridge.
any funds from the track meets?
Very little, not a lot.
Not enough to pay for the track.
Wasn't sure which one was next.
Yeah, and then we had the district-wide weight equipment, and then we had the ceiling grid replacement.
Okay.
We're doing it.
The district-wide weight equipment is a term contract to allow the schools to be able to work with any of these three vendors who are on your list to get weight room equipment, flooring, and supplies over the next 5 years. With the addition of the weight room at Fort High and Ashley Ridge, we wanted to be able to provide them with the district basic of what each school should get for their weight rooms. And then if they wanted to supplement, they could use any of these vendors. So once we are able to determine which vendor for the district basic package, since they're getting these new classrooms, we'll bring that back to y'all for approval.
Awesome.
And just give you an example on some of that. There was a vendor that we don't know much about. And so our athletic directors actually took a visit today to go see a vendor that we've never used to make sure we're going to get a good quality product for all three high schools. So they were able to go up there today. Not sure what they found out, but they did do that. So again, on this piece here is all the rest of the equipment that they already have. The older equipment will be sent back, and the other company, whoever gets the bid, will then take that and sell. It'll be sold back to them. Correct? They're going to sell it for us. Am I right on that?
I'm not sure exactly if they'll give us a credit towards what we're
Credit,
purchasing.
that's what I was looking for, credit.
Yes.
So who gets to decide which of these companies they use? Does that happen at the school level?
At the district level, but we get input from all the three high schools. Because you may have one high school may like this company, one may like this, but then we look at quality and then we look at the price. All right, Mr. Farrell, did you want to talk about
Yeah,
that?
just,
more of your-
yes, each high school is gonna get 28 stations, 28 benches, 28 bars, 28 sets of bumper weights, which is the rubber weights. So everybody gets the exact same thing in their color, and then they can go out, because each strength coach has their kind of feel of the extras that they want above and beyond the core. And so that's what the core is.
This is, if we approve this tonight, then it's gonna allow you to use any of these three. And then you're gonna take input to decide which one, and it'll
Correct.
be the same for all three
Yes.
high schools.
For their basics.
Yeah, we got
Yes,
basics
and if
for
they
you.
wanted to supplement it, they could use the other vendors as well.
Maybe I didn't hear it. So there's a possibility we have 3 different vendors in this district. As
Right.
opposed,
Well, let me ask, Kenny, what do we have right now?
No, what it is that right now, like I said, there's 2 vendors. We have to make sure we're getting apples to apples because of the bid they put in, because of the strength of steel. There's a different strength of steel in one. We want to make sure that they both have submitted the correct, same standard of steel. We don't want one to have lesser and one to have more. So once that's done, and then take with the low bid for part that the district is buying, and then the schools, once this is passed, can buy anything from the vendors that have been approved.
but they have a choice of 3.
Yes, from the vendors.
Well, they do.
No, I meant 3 different vendors. I guess I'm trying to figure out will they give us a better deal if they supply to all three schools?
So that's why we're buying the core. The district is buying the core with Riverfront.
From one of
Okay.
those three. It'll be one of those three
Oh,
companies.
that's what I was
Yeah,
trying to
and-
get.
but then the other schools, they can use any of these vendors if they want extra pieces.
Gotcha.
Because
Okay.
we're buying basically the racks and the benches and the bars. They can buy different machines and different adapters for it. They can buy bikes or whatever. They
So
can.
that's why you want all three in here, so that gives the schools the autonomy to choose for their extra
With
stuff.
different, with their different flavors. Because some have, like one has what they call tsunami bars, the big floppy bars. Some have, each of them have their own little unique equipment. But as far as the basic cages, benches, bars, the vanilla piece, the district's gonna do that with their. And like, each high school has a little bit of both already, the other two. So,
All right, then the last item that we're bringing to the board this evening is the Newington Elementary School ceiling grid replacement and abatement. This was an invitation for bids. And as you can see on your, in your packet, this was the recommendation for the vendor and award amount for the best submitter for this project after committee reviewed. So bring that tonight as well. And this is referendum money.
And that's gonna start this summer, right? I think we were out there, we did the facilities check.
Start this.
Yes.
Can it, that
Yes,
start
it'll be
this
this
summer?
summer. It'll be
And
very quick.
It's ongoing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Jeff Smith said it's going to be probably in 2
Three
phases,
parts.
this summer and next summer. Those are all the items that we wanted to.
Or do you want to talk about the report we just got to? I think for finance, what you want to talk about?
Do it.
Very, very
We
positive.
just got from the State Department of Education, they did our risk assessment. And they look at 10 different areas. Whether or not we turn in our financial information to them on time, if we have a lot of questions or if we have a lot of problems here. They also look at testing, assessments. There's a few other criteria as well. And our score came back today that we were low risk. So if you have 18 or lower, you're considered low risk, which means when you're going through your audit that you don't have to have a million things looked at. You can have 900 things looked at. So it's a really big effort across the district in many, many different areas, financial secretaries, principals. Kudos to Teresa Kelly for title. They do a lot of work that goes into this assessment. And so we were given a score of 10. So we did almost the best. 9 is the very best, but we got a 10. So that's great.
Kudos. Good job.
Thanks.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, good
Point
job.
that out.
Thanks to
Yeah.
everyone. It's fantastic. Way
Good.
to be low.
Right. In one area.
Like golf.
Yes. That's great.
All right, anybody have any questions on any of the contracts for approval tonight? All right, hearing none. All right, moving on. Do you have any public comment? Dylan? Public comment?
This is already like.
All right, so I guess we're adjourned.
Thank you,